What's up, guys? Good morning. It's Saturday. Got some coffee. Been out here just tinkering in the shop a little bit. I've gotten a bunch of new tools. Well, tooling for tools that I already have, I should say. I got end mills and collets and stuff, so I started using my mill here, modifying the downpipe again. I got some new stuff for my mini lathe here, and I've already used it to open up this V-pan just a tiny bit so I could actually get it to seat into it like it's supposed to. You'll see that a little bit different when I get this back off here. I got it all held down right now because the spot that I welded up where the original O2 sensor was supposed to go, I want to reuse it. So since it's so thick and everything, I decided to go ahead and mill it flat to give me a good surface, and then I've recessed it so that way I can turn down the bung I'm going to use a little bit and it'll slip down into it and seat into it. And then I got I might have to open this hole up a little bit more for the O2 sensor to come through, but that actually might be big enough, but we'll see. I'll probably have to open that up some more. Either way, I'll probably open it up more. But yeah, I've been sitting here using this. I have on the downpipe this bung that came on it and was always plugged, and it looked about the right size because I have a red top SR20 and it utilizes the small O2 sensor, the skinny one, not the fat one. And this is the same size, but the one that is on that downpipe right now is too big, so I'd have to have an adapter. I tried to make an adapter, but with making the adapter and even making it as small as I did, it doesn't want to work. I mean, it would probably work, but it's not the way I want it to be. So I wanted to do something different, and this is the route that I'm taking now. I'm not sure where I put that spacer that I made, or adapter, not spacer, adapter. Oh, here it is. So I took a drain plug that was the right thread. I ordered it. I shortened it on this side so it would get more around the O2 sensor, and then I shortened the head, and then I also drilled and tapped it, and it all works just fine for that. It's just that due to this, pretty much I'd have to get rid of this part, like the flange and the stop and everything, and that wouldn't work unless I welded it in. I don't want to ruin that in case I change O2 sensors later or something, get the car tuned, need a different O2 sensor, I can just pop it in right there. So I don't want to lose it. I already have a plug for this bung. So I figured if I use this bung, I could make it all work, everything, and I'll get it installed on there, and then it gives me the two options is the way that I've seen. And I also like the idea of it being in the factory location since I'm using a factory ECU. I think my ECU has a tune on it because this motor has been dynoed before in a different car, and it was at like 217 wheel, which is high for an SR, so I'm assuming that the ECU was tuned in Japan. But anyways, yeah, I would like to put it back in the factory location, make sure that I get the O2 sensor far enough out into the stream. That's my goal. So we're going to end up cutting this off right here. I'm going to throw it in the lathe, square up the bottom, do my little recessed step to slip down into that hole, and then I'm probably going to even add some ribs down this to kind of help for cooling, to be more like one of those cooling style bungs. I don't know if it'll help a bunch or not, but I have the tools, I have the means, I might as well. So anyways, let's get back into doing it this morning, and I'm going to start with cutting that off and going and getting it on the lathe. So before I go ahead to pull this off, I need to take this hole a little bit bigger. I went ahead and already checked it. So I'm going to switch this out to a different end mill. Just because the end mills are honestly the most convenient thing I have to fit the collets. So unless I can find a drill bit really quick, the same size as one of my collets, that'll work. And we're going to get this changed out so we can get this hole bigger for the O2 sensor to go in and have plenty of room. So let's get started on that. Alright, so when I pulled this off my table, off my mill, get a little bit closer look. As you can see, it's stepped here, right? And you got this piece. This steps right into it. See? I got plenty of clearance for the O2 sensor to come through. I'll clean this up a little bit. Probably after I get done welding it in, I'll come through and clean all this up. But I might even try running the welder around here and see if I can't attach it on the inside. But there you go. You can see I cut some fins into it, kind of help with some heat release. Maybe won't make a difference. It's back in its factory location. It sits in there nice and tight. Now all I just got to do is weld around it and be done. I might grind this down to smooth it a little bit. You can see where I was eating away at it with the end mill. It's not very very clean there, but I'll probably clean this up with a grinder really quick or a file or something, and then we can start welding this bung on and we'll have an O2 sensor again. Alright, you can see I got it all welded up. Again, not the best welds, but getting there. I mean, it's better, it works. And then I cleaned the inside up and welded it on the inside too, just using what was there. Didn't have to use any filler. I still have to put the plug in there, but I want to weld this V-band on first. And as you can see, nice tight fit up in here. So it is stepped, but the way this pipe was, is it was just a tiny bit too big, so I threw this on the lathe and I just opened it up just a tiny bit more and then hammered it on here. It fits nice and tight, and like that's why it doesn't fall off, is it is tight on here. So I had to get it started and then sat there and hit it and hit it until I got it to like turn in, and it's on there. So we'll get that welded on next, but I got to get it cleaned. I already had cleaned this area that I welded here, so we'll get the rest of it cleaned up and we can weld it. I thought I had one. I wasn't really looking for it. I just came across it. I have a stock heat shield for the turbo. I cleaned it up and I coated it with some high temp paint so it looks all nice. And then I went ahead. I had one broken bolt on the exhaust manifold. I couldn't get it to drill out quite right. It's a weird position and I didn't want to have to take the manifold off. I'd rather left it on. So this didn't drill out quite right. So I drilled it over, tapped it over, and then I took a bolt that I had and I ran it in there up and down until I got it to basically bottom out, because I don't have a bottom tap. So I had to it squeezed the threads that last little bit and got down to the bottom, and then I just sit there and rattled it until it literally snapped off flush to it. And then when it snapped off flush, I then center punched it, drilled a new hole, and tapped it to the exact same size all the other ones were. So basically made my own helicoil. So, because I don't have a helicoil, that's one of the things on my list, is to buy helicoil kits and have them sitting around ready for this kind of situation. But this turned out really well, worked really good, lines up perfectly. And then I tapped all the other holes so the threads are nice and clean and ready to go. I still need to do the valve cover gasket, but I did get the downpipe all mounted. I got my plug in, everything's ready here. I still need to clean this part up just a little bit. You can see there's still some high spots for weld, so I need to sand that down a little bit lower, and then I'll do the same thing as I did on the other one. I think I put the V-band over on the welding bench, but I'll do the same thing as I did to this V-band here, and I'm just going to open up this inner part of the race so it'll slip over the pipe. So that's what I'm going to do.